I do this every day. So to hear something like that is just you telling me you're lazy. You didn't really care for it. I would have ran one hat, but how many times I told you, hey, I don't think this is right. Back with a new episode. A lot's been going on past couple of days. There's been delays. We've been working non-stop, just straight up on it. Got pretty much 200 plus hats right here that we got to run the front, and then we got to run the side. So that's basically 400 locations that we have to embroider. It takes some time to do that. We're only running on 4 machines, so it's going to take a few days to do it. We're knocking them out pretty fast. Let me show you guys what we're working with. Got Autoplex 3D puff embroidery in the front. We already went ahead and sampled each color, the 7 different colors. So we went ahead and get them approved. That way, everything's good to go with the client. You ain't gotta go back and forth. So the client's knowing what they're going to go get. These camo ones, fire. Orange 3D puff, and then we got the red 3D puff. The client was unsure on which color to do. We told him we could split it in half, where it's 25 camos right here, where it's 13 orange and 12 red ones. They're located in Texas, and both colorways work. Like the Astro logo has orange and red in it. The Texans logo got orange. It all goes. It matches a lot of Texas. We're knocking out these. We got 200 of these to knock out, and we're going through them pretty fast. If you want to see the different type of hats, let me show you guys real quick. We got that EP5 panel right here. We have these blanks on our website, so if you need them, the link is in the description, and it's also embroideryplug.com right there. Got these 5 panels, these right here, 3D puff. This is the red suede brim, super cool, on the website as well. And then this is cool colorway, Kelly green with that suede brim, snap back in the back. And then these we're trying to restock. We're currently sold out. It's the waterproof hats. Pour water on them to beat off. So these are cool too, but these were sold out of. And these camos, we had like over 200 come in. Now we're down to less than 100. Actually, maybe like 75, 50, but that's about to be gone too. They're going pretty fast. These camos are cool. I really like them. I call them the tree camo. This one right here we have, it's a trucker version of what we just showed you. 5 panel, suede brim, got that side and border logo. So last episode I was talking about how the digitizing didn't come out on this one correctly, so I had to take the time to redo that and fix it. Check it out. 3D puff embroidery. So that's not easy to do, so I had to split it up right there so it looks like a 6, and then the 8 right here, I kind of split it up to look like an 8. Super cool, super detailed. This is a rush order, so we're constantly trying to work and knock out these orders non-stop. This I got to get out at least by the latest today or tomorrow. The client needs it Friday. 3D puff. They also got 2 colors, by the way. Got that forest green with a natural, and these are auto cap 5 panels. I have these blanks on the website as well if you need them. We got them on embroideryplug.com. Now straight to it, I got some other samples I gotta run today. Get it approved for the client. I've been waiting on Auto to ship me my hats that I needed for this order. It took quite some time, so it's running a little late and it caused me to be late. So I had to tell the client like, hey, my apologies. We just got your hats in today. There was nothing I could really do other than wait for your hats to come in because it's very particular colors. I do have a lot of inventory on hand. As you can see, most people don't have this much hats on stock. I have more hats than this that's not in the video right here. There's a lot of hats on this wall right here. There's over 1,000 hats for sure. So we got quite a bit. We got new hats coming in, a lot of corduroy. I haven't been able to even touch the box yet to check out the details and start offering it to our clients for custom services. If you're wondering about embroidery, our minimum order is 12 hats of the same design, which is very low. There's people that minimum orders 24 hats of the same design. In my opinion, 12 hats of the same design is pretty low. Running these, I gotta get the board machines turned on, but I didn't want too much noise and stuff yet. Starting off the day and then finish up this order. I got like 3 of those hats left out of 24. That's a rush order. So I have to get that up. Clean all these right here. We already ran all these. So you know the thing about 3D puff embroidery, they take a lot more time to clean up into embroider to make sure the details are nice and clean. That's why our work is clean, because we pay attention to the details. We take our time cleaning the hats, which not everybody does. You know, we make sure everything's nice and even. We measure literally every hat that goes on the board machine, we measure it. Not everybody does that. Also got some other complaints from some clients talking about how the hats aren't evenly structured and their embroidery is all crooked and pretty much trying to blame the hats. By me looking at it, I'm not going to say what or who,
But by me looking at it, it's more of user error because the person embroidering, they might not be using single head machines. They might have like a multi-head unit. And with those, you have to hoop them all evenly and make sure it is measured and everything. But with single heads, you know, each one, we guarantee it's nice and centered. We measure each and every single hat. That's one of the reasons why I like single heads, and you can run multiple different designs on single heads over the big machines that have all four, you know, multi-head units where you have to run all four of the same design. With that, you have to make sure each hat is hooped evenly before you put on the machine, measure. You know, it's a lot more steps to it, but I'm sure not everybody pays attention to those details. That's why here at Embroidery Plug, we pay attention to details. I pay attention to details. I make sure my team pays attention to details. But at the end of the day, we make sure we get the job done with the fire details. Score on our Instagram, you can see all our work. Everything is nice, clean, and concise, you know, because that's what we do. Got another order on these camos, and check out the colorways. If you're wondering what colors work on camo, like yellow work, green works, it really depends on the design, but you also want a high contrast design on camo because camouflage is kind of like incognito. Unless that's the look you're going for, you just want something that's not really seen. So you can go with the basic white or black. But if you want it to pop like this, 3D puff embroidery, orange on this camo, fire, says risking everything. It did it with an orange star as well, just to show the client and, you know, show multiple different colors. And then that red, I don't know, something about the red and orange that really goes with this camo, or most camos that we've been doing lately, orange and red really work. So if you're wondering about camo, what color to do, you can do that, or white or black. You know, you can't go wrong with white or black. Just one of them might pop more than the other because, you know, black's darker, white's lighter. So it depends on how dark the camo hat is. On the contrast is what's going to affect it. And this one right here is a tough design to do with how wide it is. This is the 1865 ones that we just showed you. That's a rush order. It'll stop at certain points, but this is what it looks like. This is the bottom part of the 8th, and then this is the top part, and then that part right there, the bottom circle. And then we did the 6 right there, and now stitching out the 1. It occasionally stops, but we just got to hold down the foam right here. And I'll do another video with all the hats we have. We have a lot. There's like over 5,000 hats on this wall, and I got another 3,000 plus hats downstairs that I gotta bring up. Gotta get the digitized designs off the computer and load it onto a jump drive and put it on the embroidery machine. Let me go get the jump drive. So much to do today and not enough time in the day. So I need to get the cracking and get all these in line. Best jump drive, USB, USB-C. I said in the last episode, I wish I got that sooner. And I do gotta make some adjustments. A client got a restock, but he didn't want the bottom part of the word on his logo, which I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna just delete it. I'm using Stitch Error for the digitizing software. It's just what I got when I got my embroidery machines. And it's the older version of Stitch Error. They have the newer version, but I'm using it. As long as it works and still get the job done, I'm gonna use it until it don't work no more. And hopefully it stays working. This digitizing software is not cheap. I do have Embrilliance on my Mac, but I don't really know how to use Embrilliance like that because I started off using this one. And I'm not a PC person, I'm a Mac person. This one right here, he pretty much doesn't want an Eastside Barbershop in there. He just wants the ESB. So I'm just gonna delete this part. Let me find out what part it is. These bottom 3 and just delete it. Boom. Here we have it without the words. This is going to be red and the green part is going to be a white outline, which I can do on the embroidery machine. It's just 2 different colors, so I can differentiate it on here. I'm just going to print out a spec sheet. That is one design for a sample, so I can get approval for the order. I have a couple more. And digitizing is a very time-consuming process. So if you're not good at digitizing, my advice is to get familiar with it, but you don't have to do it. You can pay somebody else to do it. You need to find a good digitizer. There's a lot of digitizers out there and a lot of them fucking suck. And digitizing is very important with embroidery because it's what showcases your work. So a lot of it has to do with the way it embroiders and knowing what you need it to look like and telling the digitizer like, hey, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need it this big. All that is very important. So you need to know that before even, like, let's say you pay somebody to get digitized, you need to know the sizing, you need to know how big this is. So for me to better explain it, like most hat designs, like my max that I offer is 2 1/4 tall. So 2.25 inches tall by 5 inches wide is the max that I offer for my standard. That's what I offer. So I generally just max out most designs. If you're wondering, need some advice, especially if you're starting, you don't know how big of a design on the hat. It also depends on the hat. So it depends on the crown size right here. From right here to right here is the crown. It's the front of the hat. And this is probably about 3.5 to 4 inches tall. And then you have to know your measurements what you're working with. I'll measure it. So this crown is, it's basically 3.5 inches tall. And you, of course, you can't embroider all the way to the bottom of this hat right here. You can only embroider to like 1/2 inch away or a centimeter, however you want to gauge it. But you got to know what you can and cannot embroider. So you got to find out how big you can embroider. But typically you can't embroider more taller than a 2.5 inch design on a hat, because you'll start hitting the bottom of the brim right here, and then it's going to give you issues. You're going to break needles and all sorts of stuff. It's a lot of steps to it. And also when you digitize for a hat, it's more free game, of course. You want to start from the centered out. You don't want to start embroidery on this corner or on this corner. So if you start on this corner, it's going to flex the hat. Like, let's say, imagine it this way, and then when it goes back like this, it's going to bulge the hat, and then it's going to give you difficulties. And when embroidering on hats or any garments or anything, like even the flat embroidery, you don't want bouncing. You don't want to see bouncing on the fabric. That's the reason why I use stabilizer and stuff, is to hold the fabric still. So if you're having bounce on there, it's going to cause you issues. Needle breaks, thread breaks, list goes on. You know, it's a lot of problems. People always ask me for advice and one-on-one coaching, and I don't really offer that at the moment. I just recently had somebody ask me the other day, and I've been contemplating if I should. It's like taking the load of people's problems and trying to figure it out, because every embroidery machine is slightly different. Not all of them are the same. And then everybody's problems could be different. You know, it could be user error. It could be the machine's not properly set up. Just because you buy a machine from overseas or cheap Chinese machines, or, you know, more affordable machines, you know, they're not always set properly because they don't care to. Or when you get a cheaper product or more affordable product versus the higher end stuff. But, you know, it's a lot of things that people don't tell you when you buy an embroidery machine too. You know, even embroidery machines doesn't always come greased up enough, don't come oil enough, and doesn't come properly tensioned. And they just do it enough for where the machine can run, and then there you go, they'll sell you the machine. You know, that's just how it is. But it's a lot of factors to it. That's why I'm thinking about it. But it's just, if I do it, it has to be a fair price for me, because I can't take on other people's problems. I'm already super busy. I can't take on other people's problems for a small fee. So it's something I'm contemplating, but it has to be the right price for me to do that. So this is just coming from my experience. I've been doing this for a very long time. I forget that I've been doing this for a minute, but I have. You know, I'm getting older, I guess. And if y'all made it this far in the video, hey, I'm A-Win, and I've been doing embroidery for about 10 years, if not a little bit longer, but I've been in the game for a good minute, started young, and been doing it. You know, not only do I do embroidery, I do screen printing, direct to garment as well. And I got to set up some screen printing transparencies today so I can have the team burn the screens and we can start screen printing as well. Christian just pulled up. He's cleaning up the 1865 embroidery hats, 3D puff embroidery. Make sure it's nice and clean. We use that lighter, definitely no heat gun, to see how detailed and clean they are. Tell me if it's our fault or is it a user error. Okay. All right. Read it.
Where am I starting here?
Yeah, just read that. And then click on the picture and look at the hats. This is the person that ordered blank hats from us.
There's a user error completely. Look,
you know what I mean?
Look at the C here separates from the I, the E, and the T. Look at this here.
And that one's touches.
Look at the clump. Look how it clumps up. This what they're doing is they're running from one side to the other.
That's what I'm saying, because I don't think they start from the center out.
No, they're running from one side to the other.
And then it's warping the hat.
It creates a bubble right here. The only reason why this one didn't get it is because when you move over to the side some, now you're stitching closer to the middle.
Exactly.
Where there's no bubble. So they just don't know.
It's a user error, digitized error.
Big problem.
It's pretty much both, but here's the thing. Embroidery is not easy. Not everybody can look at a hat and be like, this is what they did wrong. We do this every day. You know what I mean? And I don't want to sound off wrong and just tell them it's a user error, because they're going to be like, what do you mean?
Yeah, there's no... I've never looked at you and said, hey, there's 20 bad hats.
Yeah, but you know I'll tell you otherwise.
Because you know it can't be
I'll be like, 20 bad hats, my ass.
No, it can't be that way. There's no problem.
It's like, you fucked up 20 hats, but it's all good. That's why we replace hats that we mess up for any order. Not everybody cares enough to fix the problem. They just see it ran and they just run it. Like, you could ask Christian. I'm so picky that he'll even show me a hat one day, and he just slightly turned it over and gave it to me just to look at it. And I said, that's crooked. Off rip.
He made me fix them.
Yeah. Or, you know, I'll make an adjustment and make sure it's good.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of small factors that go in play that people don't
Gotta
know.
pay attention to the details.
Like what we say all the time.
When you hoop the hat, and when you tighten here and you pinch it, if you just click it, the hat automatically bulges to one side.
Yeah.
See how there's gaps? Right? So then I have to come back here sometimes and just play with it and just find that
Sweet spot.
smooth. They just shifted to one side, and then when they pulled it, when the hoop pulled it, see, you just pulled it.
Yeah.
And it bends the hat.
Because they didn't hoop it properly.
That's what they did.
And it's also not digitized properly.
Especially not those.
That's what I'm saying.
Those hats aren't going to give you that problem. I've never had that problem.
And how many those hats did we run?
I can't tell you.
All right, so I'll tell you, we had at least in the past year or two, we had at least over 10,000 of those hats.
Yeah.
And we ran at least over 2,000 to 5,000.
I mean, we're still running them.
So.
We wouldn't run them we never had a batch like that.
And I wouldn't sell the hats if they weren't good.
Oh, that's for sure. You show them the pile of hats you don't like. Those don't go out.
They don't know.
They don't go out.
They didn't know. Everything's very thoroughly done.
Yeah.
You can ask Christian. I blame myself all the time about everything.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if this not stitching out right, guess what? Who's gonna fix it?
It's our fault.
Who's gonna fix it? You know what I mean? I'm gonna fix it. And who's gonna take the blame? I'm gonna take the blame. That's why I'm so very particular on the details. I make sure everything's good. You know, that's why y'all fuck with me. I appreciate y'all. And this is why we take our time to make sure everything's nice and good. Let Christian get back to work because we need to get these hats out. There are a lot of hats to do. We got probably over 500 hats to get out this week. It's a lot of work. It's going to take a little bit of time, but we're going to get the job done. Until the next video, subscribe, like, comment, and this is what we do. We get the job done here at Embroidery Plug.
I do this every day, so to hear something like that is just you're telling me you're lazy. You didn't really care for it. I would have ran one hat, but how many times I told you, hey, I don't think this is right.
Or,
it could be my mistake.
Or you would have showed me, and guess what?
That's what I do. I show you, and you tell me, nah, it's good, just do this, and that. I'm like, okay, we try it again. It works, it works.
Yeah.
It could be anybody's mistake, but not 3, 4, 5 hats. Oh,
Yeah.
So do they all look like that?
We got over 100 hats on this table. You can check each one.
You could. You could. They all look exactly the same.
And on top of that, if they don't, guess who's replacing them? Right here. Out of my pocket.
That's the thing. If it's a hat problem, it'd be consistently throughout. Her mess ups aren't consistent. They all look different.
Yeah.
You know? So that's definitely a user problem. I know because I'm hooping.
Yeah.
I know the mistake they're making.
That's today's debate. You know what I mean? With business, somebody always wants to take the blame on someone else. And it is what it is. If I'm wrong, I'll eat the blame. But this case, I ain't wrong, bro. I ain't.
Still probably gonna have to use the blame because it's a business thing, but
If you came for me and asked for advice on what you could have done better, you know I would have told him what's up.
you don't even gotta ask advice. You could just put it out there and be like, hey, I don't think these hats are any good. Look what happened. What do you think? You know? Have you guys ran into this problem? And then we would have been like, nah, that's the hat, or yeah, you just try hooping it differently. You know? But to just come out of pocket after running on the saying they're bad, that makes no sense to me. You just wasted a bunch of hats.
That's today's issue, today's dilemma. Like, comment, subscribe for more content. All right, before we wrap this up, Christian got one more thing to say.
Well, realistically, I'm sorry for the way your hats came out. We ran a lot of these hats in the past, never had this issue. The only thing I can offer you is just next time send your client directly to us and they won't have that problem again.